The alarm was deafening. Smoke crawled under the door like a living shadow, hissing as it licked the cold tile floor. Marcus jolted awake on the 12th floor of the Carrington Complex, the once proud glass tower now a furnace of cracking steel and flames. He could hear screams from somewhere below, the building groaning under its own weight. The fire had spread fast, too fast. He staggered to his feet, already coughing. His apartment was filling with black smoke, the lights flickering weakly above him. He reached for his phone. Dead. No signal, no service. And that's when he heard it. Not the fire, not the alarms. Something else. A wet, dragging sound, slow and deliberate, somewhere in the hallway. Marcus opened his front door and was greeted with a thick haze, red lit from the pulsing emergency lights. Visibility was down to a few feet. He squinted through the smoke, and there it was. A silhouette, tall and inhumanly thin, moving against the fire's flow. It didn't run or panic. It moved with purpose, as though it belonged in this chaos. Its face was a smudge of charcoal, with 2 pinpricks of glowing amber where eyes should be. Marcus slammed the door shut and locked it out of instinct. That's when the doorknob began to turn slowly, back and forth, like it was being tested. Then silence. He backed away, thinking. The elevator was suicide. The stairs were his only option. He yanked a wet towel from the kitchen, wrapped it around his mouth, and kicked open his own bedroom window. No ladder, no fire escape. 12 stories down was death. With no choice left, he bolted into the hallway and sprinted toward the stairwell. Behind him, the dragging sound returned, faster now. The entity wasn't bound by the same rules. It didn't cough. It didn't burn. It didn't fear. It followed. Down the stairwell he ran, each level hotter than the last. Paint blistered off the walls. Pipes burst in short explosions. And still, that thing followed. Marcus could hear it even through the roar of the flames. Not running, gliding. By the 7th floor, the smoke was thicker. His vision blurred. He stumbled, fell, cut his palm on a broken railing. When he looked up, it was there again, just below, maybe 1 floor down. He could see the heat warping its shape, but it never faltered. A body of shadow and fire. Every exit door he passed was either glowing red or belching flame. He kept going. 4th floor, 3rd. The building let out a terrible groan, like a beast in its death throes. Chunks of ceiling rained down. Something crashed from above. It was chasing him faster now, matching his descent. He made it to the lobby, coughing violently, his lungs shredded from the smoke. The doors were shattered. Glass crunched beneath his feet. He ran through them just as the building screamed, like metal twisting in a vise. Marcus turned back once just to see. The entity stood at the threshold of the glass doors, fire erupting behind it. For the first time, it hesitated. Then the ceiling above it collapsed. The entire lobby caved in, and the Carrington Complex began to fall, floor by floor, windows exploding outward as the beast was swallowed in flame and debris. He didn't cheer. He didn't speak. He simply collapsed on the pavement, watching the last of the tower collapse into a pile of scorched rubble. Marcus sat on the curb, wrapped in a scratchy blanket he found in his car, eyes locked on the smoldering wreckage of the Carrington Complex. After a while, fire crews swarmed the scene, shouting orders over the crackle of flames and twisted metal. But he couldn't hear them. Not really. All he could hear was the sound of that thing dragging itself behind him in the stairwell. All he could see were those glowing eyes, burned into the back of his mind. The EMTs tried talking to him, asking questions. Name, age, address. He answered in short, stunned bursts. They thought it was trauma, shock, but Marcus knew it was something else, something deeper. That thing hadn't been part of the fire. It was born in the fire. As the sun began to rise, orange light pouring over the blackened skeleton of the building, Marcus noticed something odd. A few firefighters stood near the rubble, looking down at a deep fissure in the earth beneath, where the foundation had been. He couldn't hear them, but their body language said enough. Confusion, unease. One of them radioed something in, and the other stepped back. Later, a man in an unmarked black coat arrived. No badge, no insignia. He talked to the fire captain, then looked directly at Marcus. Just once. It wasn't a look of concern. It was recognition, like he knew what Marcus had seen. Marcus didn't wait for the hospital. He slipped out from the view of the first responders, tossed the blanket, and walked into the smoky morning. He needed answers, and he knew where to start. 1 week later. The nightmares didn't stop. Every night he ran through the Carrington stairwell again. Every night the thing got closer, and every time he looked back it was less smoky, less shrouded, more real. He hadn't told anyone. What would he say? That fire had a consciousness, that something inhuman lived inside the blaze. He started digging, at first just building records. Carrington Complex had been constructed over an older tenement building from the early 1900s, one that had burned down in 1967. 47 residents died. Cause: faulty wiring. Officially. But buried in the microfilm at the city archives, he found a photo. A blurred shot of a figure drawn in soot on one of the surviving walls. Tall, thin, eyes like coals. Same silhouette. Digging deeper, he found old firefighter reports. One survivor, Captain Ronald Greaves, had claimed he saw a thing in the fire. He'd been institutionalized for over 30 years, labeled delusional. Marcus drove out to the deserted land where Greaves lives. Greaves was old, wrinkled like burnt paper, barely coherent. Greaves wanted nothing to do with Marcus until Marcus showed him the photo. The old man's eyes lit up in fear. "It lives in the flame," Greaves rasped. "It watches through heat. It feeds on panic. Every building it touches, it makes sure no one escapes." Marcus asked, "Why me? Why did I get out?" Greaves stared at him. "You didn't, not really. You just ran fast enough, but it saw you. And once it sees you, it follows." Just then, Greaves shouts in agony as he clenches his heart. Marcus called the police to come aid Greaves. Marcus can barely hear Greaves as he says, "The beast put a mark on me, and now there is one on you too." Before Marcus could get any answers, Greaves goes unconscious. Marcus waits for the ambulance to arrive and heads back to the city where he is staying in a friend's apartment. The apartment was cold, but his dreams were not. He unplugged everything. No stove, no candles. Even covered all vents. Still, strange heat spots appeared in his walls. Scorch marks on the inside of the fridge. The smoke detector would go off at random. One night, he woke up choking. No fire, just the smell of burning plastic. He set up a thermal camera in the living room. It picked up a human-sized heat signature at 3:11 a.m. No entry, no exit, just standing there in the center of the room, watching, which was bizarre to him because his friend had gone on vacation with his fiancée to Paris 3 days ago. He decided to leave the city, go off-grid, cabin in northern Montana, snow, ice, no electricity, no heat. It was the only place he might be safe. He gave his friend a text and left. 3 months later. Isolation kept the thing at bay, or so he thought. No flickers, no warmth, just silence and cold. Marcus felt like maybe he'd outrun it. Then, one night, he stepped outside to grab firewood. There was a glow on the horizon. Not the northern lights, not lightning. It was flame, coming from where the town should be. By morning, the valley below was a scorched basin. The news called it a gas explosion, but Marcus knew better. It was hunting, expanding, burning its way back to him. The final entry in his journal he had been writing in ever since the building fire was brief. "Fire doesn't die. It waits, and now it knows my name." Marcus was never found. His cabin turned to ash, but the thermal camera inside captured a final image. Red eyes in the dark,